Not a good opening act for me and my handicapping prowess last week at Churchill, Santa Anita, or Belmont. Oh, sure, I gave out volatile at 2 to 5 in Autostudies at Churchill, but my red tag special, Payne, didn't fire. He broke well, got into good position, and just didn't fire. Finished fifth. Now, the track came up a little wet last week at Belmont, but that's not an excuse. Besides, count them, three horses I denounced in Still Regard, Newspaper of Record, and Vacoma not only won, but romped. So I'll just have to do better this week. So welcome to week 2 of Thoroughbred Ticket for Saturday, June 13th. I have some kissing and making up I gotta do.
Welcome to Thoroughbred Ticket, into the world of thoroughbred horse racing, into a world of inside information and handicapping style geared towards making a winning day at the races worldly possible. And now, here's your host of Thoroughbred Ticket, Mr. Kenneth Anthony Moultrie.
And welcome to Thoroughbred Ticket. I'm your host, Kenneth Moultrie. And as I said earlier, not a good start for me last week, but I'm ready to make amends going forward and get this thing kicked off in the right direction. I'm going to cover 2 tracks for tomorrow, June 13th. There will be Churchill and Belmont Park. I'm not interested in covering Santa Anita, as I said last week. Just very disappointed in the field sizes and just the quality of racing. 4, 5, 6 horses in fields. It's just not intriguing for me, and it's just not fun to handicap a particular type of race like that. Even the races that do have 8, 9 horses, they're weak fields, and like I say, it's just not fun for me to do. So I'm going to just concentrate for tomorrow on Churchill and Belmont. And like I said, I'm going to cover a pick 4 that ends with the Grade III Louisville at Churchill, and a pick 4 at Belmont, which is going to end with the Grade 1 Ogden Phipps. And also at Belmont, that pick 4 is also going to include my Grand Slam play for you NYRA bettors. So starting at Churchill in the 8th race, the first leg of the pick 4 that I will give you, 5.5 furlongs on the turf, optional claimer, 62,000, purse 83. Start with the 1, Dixie and Candyland for Eddie Keneally and Corey Lannery. This horse ran 5th last time in a similar race at Churchill, breaking from the 10 hole, 5.5 furlongs, came closing. Joe Rosario rode him that day. Was bet pretty good at 3 to 1. Came on running, only missed by a length and a quarter. Gets the rail, not the most ideal place to be in a 5.5 furlong sprint. But I think Corey Lannery can get a good position on him, maybe not have him so far back. I think this horse is going to make a good run coming into the stretch. I think this horse has a good chance to win. One of my choices will be the 1 horse, Dixie and Candyland. Number 4, VJ's Bet for Brendan Walsh and Tyler Gaffleon. This horse comes out a slower time, similar race at Churchill. They went 5.5 and 105 and 3. The horse was 12 to 1 that day, got a 77 buyer, came in 4th, missed by 4 lengths. Tyler sticks with her, I should say. So I'm looking for a little improvement. I am going to choose her as well on my pick 4 ticket. I like horses who show that even run. They really didn't use a lot of energy. A good rider like Tyler comes back and suits up and teams with him. Again, Brendan Walsh having a great meet, 27% so far. Nothing really wrong with the horse. I like the horse. Going to use the horse as well in my pick 4, and that's the number 4, VJ's Bet. Another horse I'm looking at is the number 7, Byerly Scene. Byerly Scene for Tom Amoss and Mitchell Morrow. This horse was claimed last time for $50,000 by Tom Amoss. Steps him up to 62. Trained him off Mike Maker. A lot of people are not going to like when a good trainer like Mike Maker is getting a horse claimed and then going to another barn. Well, Tom Amoss is a very comfortable trainer, but still, it's Mike Maker, and people are going to look at that. The horse was 4 to 1, really bet, didn't run a step at 5.5 furlongs at the fairgrounds back in February. But Tom's had some time with her. And I think that This horse gonna get a chance for a piece. Gonna be a good price. She's 15-1 on the morning line. And I think that this horse will have a say-so in tomorrow's 8th race at Churchill Downs. Another horse I am going to use in my pick 4 in that particular sequence. I will speak on the probable post-time favorite, number 5, Hidden Facts for Brian Lynch and Julien Leparoux. The horse came out the faster, kind of similar race, the 104, the same race that the Dixie and Candyland came out of. Hidden Facts was the beaten favorite. Javier was on her that day, goes to Julien Leparoux. As you know, Javier's in New York. The horse is actually disqualified in place 6, so she was drifting out at the 8th pole, according to the comments. Got an 86 buyer, but ran on the pace, on the engine for most of the race, even got the lead at the 8th pole, and then was passed, but kind of drifted out, kind of shows some history of getting tired in the stretch, a lot of drift out comments and whatnot. So that's something I'm just going to try to stay away from. I think I like other horses better, but I did want to mention it because, like I said, I do want to mention horses that I think will get bad and other handicappers will like, but I pretty much don't like him. The 3 horses I like is the 1, Dixie and Candyland, the 4, VJ's Bet, and the 7, Barely Seen. In race 9 at Churchill, 6 furlongs, maiden claiming, 50,000, 3-year-olds. Looks like an interesting field here. 11 are signed up. They have an entry in the race. The plain one, Major Attraction, draws the rail. They should be the favorite. It's Wayne Catalano and Martin Garcia. I'm looking at the horse. The horse has 3 runs, all straight maidens, dropping into 50 today. Not that big of a drop. The rail's not going to help. The race is only 6 furlongs, so I'm going to go elsewhere, and with going elsewhere, it's going to be the number 2 horse, the Drake. Now, this horse is a first-time gelding. This horse is a 3-year-old colt by Street Sense, or a 3-year-old gelding by Street Sense, and I think Thomas Proctor is really good off these types from the layoff. He's 20%, 180 days or more. Tyler Bayes rides. And the horse hasn't been seen since last September at Kentucky Downs, coming off a turf race. Kind of evenly bet, didn't really run that well. But Proctor is a very crafty trainer. I'm thinking he's doing something different with the horse. Like I said in my last program, I'm not of the belief of so many horses that are coming back for prep races. Now, there are some, depending upon the distance and whatnot. So I'm just not going to play that guessing game about, well, this is a prep race, because racing has not been at the forefront for a long time. And I'm thinking that trainers are sending their horses back running. So the number 2 horse, the Drake, for, like I said, first time gelding for Thomas Proctor, is going to be one of my selections, as well as the number 4 horse, Bucky. Bucky is also a first-time gelding. Horse has not been seen since March at the fairgrounds. Worked a nice 47 breezing of 4 furlongs on June 2nd on this Churchill track. Now, Greg Foley has a couple of wins already at the meet, employs Rafael Bejarano. Rafael Bejarano had a little slow business, not doing too well. A lot of people think he's fallen off, but he's won some races at Churchill recently. And, these riders don't forget how to ride. It's just about the stock they get and whatnot. So I'm not underconfident about using Rafael Bejarano. I know he can ride a horse. And so this horse I'm going to use in my pick 4 as well. This horse is 8-1 on the morning line. And by that last running line at Fairgrounds, he was 10-1 in a 10-horse field, and he finished 9 by 13. Now, he's 8-1 on the morning line. He's probably going to be an overlay. That's just not anything to be intrigued about from from the bettor's eyes. But you have to kind of look deep. Look at how Greg Foley is pretty good at 18% for these type layoffs. He's 19% for maiden second starts. So kind of looking deep through here. I'm going to use the 4 Bucky. Like I said, he's also a first-time gelding. The number 9 horse, Bubba Caballo. Joe Talamo rides for Ron Moquette. This horse started at Oakland in March and finished second, got a 68 buyer in a maiden claiming $50,000. And then came back to Churchill, stepped up to a straight maiden, and was similarly bet at 6-1 and really didn't run a step. Now, what I do like about this particular horse is I think that race that he had at Churchill, I think he's going to come back to that race at Oakland. I think that second closing from the same post position he will have tomorrow is going to tell it. I think the pace is right, the post position is right, and I think Joe Talamo will get a little more out of him tomorrow. I'm not too crazy about that last work of 4 furlongs in 52 on June 1st. I'm a big work person. I love work. Some people say if you get smart, fast works before a race, it takes a lot out of you. I don't buy that. I've never bought that. I'm more of the, if you look sharp, then you're ready. So like I said, a 52 work, not too crazy about it, but the only reason that I'm going to dismiss it in this particular case is because there's other horses in here, a lot of horses in here that also have slow work. So what are you going to do, right? So I'm going to pick this horse. It's going to be part of my pick 3 or pick 4 brigade, the number 9, Bubba Caballo, along with the number 2 horse, the Drake, and number 4, Bucky. Leg 3 of the pick 4 at Churchill, the 10th race, 6.5 furlongs, optional claimers, non-winners of 175,000. Gonna go 6.5. Looks like there are a full field of 12 signed up. Look like there's gonna probably be some scratches. I'm always leery of handicapping the day before because it seems that there's a 13 or 14 or 15 horse that really looks good. And you're thinking about, is that horse going to get in? And do I give out my top picks knowing that one of these horses may get in? And I'm just thinking it's going to happen that way. But until then, I'm just going to give the horses that are on the main part of the program. That's 1 through 12. So I'm going to start with number 2 horse, Figure of Speech. This is the Chad Brown runner on the dirt. Tyler Gaffleon will ride. This horse broke her maiden at Saratoga by 5. And then came back and ran in the Spinaway Stakes, and she was well bet there. She was 7-2, ran 3rd, and then is given time off. Hasn't been seen since September 1st of last year. This is an Into Mischief filly. Now, sometimes I'm really quick. I want to talk about, like I said, what I mentioned earlier already in this particular broadcast about layoff horses. The only horses that I believe that these days anyway, that I believe are in it for a particular prep are horses who show potential in the past and their game seems to be at a longer distance. Now, Figure of Speech has only run 2 races, and this race is, like I said, is 6.5 furlongs, but this horse definitely has a class advantage over everyone in the race. I really don't see this being a prep again. Like I say, if Figure of Speech was a distance horse going a mile and a 16th, a mile and an 8th, a mile and a quarter, and he's coming back in a 6.5 furlongs race, then I'm looking at, okay, there's bigger fish to fry down the line. So Figure of Speech, they're not going to be my top choice, but I am going to use her in the pick 4. I like, got a good post position. I just don't think that she's going to be on the top of her game. So I'm going to look at others, and the next horse I'm going to look at is the number 5 horse, Scolding, which is also going to be my Red Tag Special. And for those of you who don't know, this is only the second podcast I've done. My Red Tag Special is my best bet of the day at all the tracks that I do. I'm not going to give a best bet or a most likely winner at 3 different tracks. I'm just going to choose what I think is the most likely winner of the horses that I handicap for you. This horse, Scolding, I watched this race at Oakland, and this is an Asmussen horse. It's a 3-year-old filly by Carpe Diem. And this horse was impressive as Volatile was in his race at Oakland. And we know what Volatile did last week at Churchill. Sorry about the phone, but getting back to Scolding, this horse was very, very impressive. I'm really surprised at the kind of low buyer figure she got at 80. This horse ran off by 6 with Ricardo Santana at Oakland